My name is Evelyn Marie Thompson, and tonight I'm going to tell you the whole truth. Every raw, ugly, beautiful piece of it. I'm 60 years old, living in a 300 square foot apartment above a laundromat in Toledo, Ohio. Most nights, I fall asleep to the hum of dryers and the smell of bleach. People look at me and see a tired old lady in thrift store clothes. They don't know I once had a big dreams, a handsome husband, and the sweetest little boy God ever put on this earth. I was born in 1964 in a small town called Sandusky, right on Lake Erie. My daddy welded ship parts, came home with metal dust in his hair. Mama took in sewing to make ends meet. We weren't poor, but we knew what it felt like when the electric company left a pink notice on the door. Church every Sunday, pot roast on Wednesdays. And Mama always said, "Evie, marry a man who treats you gentle and works honest." I thought I did. Robert Allen Whitmore. Even his name sounded rich. I met him summer of 1982 at the First Baptist picnic. He wore a crisp white shirt, drove a Camaro, and told jokes that made everybody laugh. His daddy owned 3 hardware stores across northern Ohio. Robert was the only child of the prince. When he asked me to the drive-in that Friday, I felt like Cinderella. 3 months later, he put a tiny diamond on my finger and promised me the world. We married June 11th, 1983. I was 19. Wore Mama's reworn wedding dress with new lace. I sewed myself. Reception was in the church basement. Sheet cake, punch, and polka music. Robert's parents gave us $5,000 for a down payment on a 3-bedroom ranch house in Parma. White siding, red shutters, swing set in the back. I hung yellow curtains in the kitchen and thought, this is it. This is the American dream everybody talks about. Tommy came screaming into the world March 3rd, 1985 at 2:17 a.m., 10 pounds. 2 ounces, cone head and all. Robert was in the delivery room, crying harder than me. We named him Thomas Robert Whitmore. Tommy, first night home. I sat in the rocking chair Robert's mom bought, staring at that perfect face, and I made a promise. I will love you so big the whole world will feel it. Meant it with every cell in my body. The first 5 years were golden. Robert got promotion after promotion. We bought a color TV, went to Disney World when Tommy was 4. He still has the photo with Goofy hugging him. I stayed home, joined the PTA, baked cookies shaped like dinosaurs. Robert coached T-ball on Saturdays. We looked like the family on the front of Hallmark cards. But behind closed doors, Robert started drinking more. Little comments turned sharp. "Dinner's cold again, Evelyn." By 1990, the comments weren't little anymore. He'd slam cabinets, call me lazy because the laundry wasn't folded perfect. One night, he threw a plate. It shattered against the wall inches from my head. Tommy, only 5, stood in the hallway in his Superman pajamas, crying. "Don't hurt Mommy." Robert looked ashamed for about 10 seconds, then stormed out to the bar. That was the first time I packed a bag in my mind. The affair started in 91. Her name was Cheryl, 23, blonde, worked in accounting at the plant. I found motel receipts in his coat pocket. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. Said, "You let yourself go, Evelyn. You're always tired." As if carrying his child, keeping his house perfect, and volunteering at church wasn't enough. 2 weeks later, I walked in on them in our bed. I took Tommy and never went back. I left with $87 in my purse, our clothes in trash bags, and the station wagon. Robert signed over to get rid of me faster. His parents hired a shark lawyer. I got no alimony, no child support, because Robert claimed I abandoned the marital home. Judge bought it. At 27 years old, I was homeless with a kindergartner. We slept in the car 2 nights until the church gave us a room at the motel on State Road. I waitressed at the Waffle House on Reynolds Road. Graveyard shift, so I could be home when Tommy got out of school. Burned arms from the grill, feet swollen so bad I soaked them in ice water. Tips were $30 on a good night. We lived in a 1-bedroom above a beauty shop. Roaches, thin walls. But it had a tiny porch where Tommy and I grew tomatoes in buckets. He called it our castle. Tommy started kindergarten wearing sneakers from the Salvation Army, but he never once complained. Every afternoon, he ran off the bus yelling, "Mommy," and hugged me like I was the only person in the world. I'd have a peanut butter sandwich waiting, and we'd sit on the porch steps talking about his day. Those little moments were gold. I kept every drawing he ever gave me in a shoebox under my bed. When he was 8, I got promoted to head waitress. Meant an extra $48 a week. We celebrated with pizza from Little Caesars and a rented Nintendo. Tommy beat Super Mario Bros. In one weekend and danced around the living room, screaming, "We're rich, Mom." I laughed so hard I cried. That same year, the transmission went out on the wagon. Took me 6 months of double shifts to save for a used Chevy Cavalier. 9th birthday. I worked a triple shift and came home with a Spider-Man cake and $10 worth of quarters for the arcade. He looked up at me with those big blue eyes and said, "You're the best mom in the whole universe." Still hear that sentence when the nights get too quiet. I wish I could bottle it and listen to it on repeat forever. Middle school was rough. Kids made fun of his patched jeans. He got in his first fight defending me when some boy called me the poor waitress lady. Came home with a bloody nose and said, "Nobody talks about my mom." I cleaned him up, made him promise no more fighting, then cried in the shower so he wouldn't hear. That night I started working weekends, cleaning offices downtown. By 13, he shot up to 5'10" overnight. Discovered baseball. First practice, he struck out 3 times and came home, ready to quit. I sat him down and told him my daddy's saying, "Can't never could do. Nothing." Next practice, he hit a home. Run over the left field fence. Coach called him a natural. For the first time in years, I let myself dream again. Maybe college scholarship. Maybe a way out of poverty for both of us. High school years were magic and terror mixed. Friday night lights, me in the bleachers with a homemade sign that said, "That's my boy, like 22. Tommy pitching no-hitters." Scouts in the stands with radar guns. We'd drive home, singing along to Springsteen on the radio. But after games, the parties started. Kids with flasks, pills in the bathroom. I begged him, "Promise me you'll come straight home." He always did, for a while. Senior year, he was offered a full ride to Bowling Green if he kept his grades up. We were so close I could taste it. Then the auto plant closed. Half the town lost jobs overnight. Kids who had college plans started selling Oxy to pay rent for their parents. Tommy's best friend overdosed in a McDonald's bathroom. Tommy came home shaking, said, "I just want to feel nothing for 5 minutes. Mom." That was the first time he asked me for pills. I said no. grounded him, took his phone. But he was 18, could walk out the door anytime. One Tuesday, he didn't come home. Found him 3 days later asleep on a park bench, pupils pinned, track marks starting on his arms. I dragged him to the ER, screaming and crying. Doctor said, "Ma'am, this is heroin?" I felt the floor drop out from under me. My beautiful baseball star was gone, and something else was wearing his skin. I sold everything that wasn't nailed down. TV, my mama's china. Dropped him off with a duffel bag and a hug that I thought might be our last. He called collect every Sunday, said he sounded like my little boy again. On day 29, he said, "Mom, I'm ready to come home and make you proud." I drove up there, believing in miracles. He stayed clean 93 days. Best 3 months of my life since he was little. He got a job at AutoZone, saved for community college, helped me pay bills. We cooked spaghetti on Sundays and watched the Browns lose like old times. Then one night, he didn't come home from work. Found a spoon and a needle in his sock drawer the next morning. He left a note. "I'm sorry, Mom. I can't do this to you anymore." Haven't seen him since. March 12th, 2020. 5 years, 8 months, 26 days. I still drive the streets of Toledo, Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago with his picture in my window. Still call every shelter, still check online inmate search and morgue reports. Still set an extra plate at Thanksgiving just in case. I'm 60 now. Arthritis so bad I can barely hold a coffee cup. Social Security barely covers rent and my blood pressure pills. But I keep his bedroom, well, the corner with his old mitten trophies, exactly how he left it. So if you take one thing from this broken old woman, let it be this. Hold your babies tight tonight. Tell them you love them out loud. Get help the first time, not the 10th. Addiction doesn't care if you're rich or poor, country or city, churchgoer or atheist. It just takes. I lost my only child to it, and no money, no miracle, no prayer has brought him home. Love them hard while they're still here to feel it. Please. For me. For Tommy, thank you.